Hey everybody, I just want to do a quick video on my condo. So recently I sold my condo and I went through the process. I got an agent. It was the same agent that I used to buy the condo, so she gave me a discount. And with the sale of any property, this is my first time selling, and I remember when I bought, there were a whole bunch of lessons that I learned, and I wrote it down and I put it on the message board on Redfin, and then Redfin took down their message boards and I lost all of my informations. And so I'm hoping that by making this video, this will provide a little bit of an archive for things that I learned during the sales process. So first of all, what I learned is, I only had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, very small, 950 square feet. It took me forever to get out of that place. I just gave away all my furniture, gave away like almost all my stuff, probably 90% of my stuff. My bed I gave away, my desk I gave away. It was so bad where I live in Federal Way, my Goodwill stopped taking donations. They just wouldn't take any donations. It was beyond ridiculous. I couldn't even give my stuff away. So anyways, it got so bad, I was actually calling my Goodwill and asking them, are you taking donations today? And then one time the lady said, yeah, we're taking donations. Sure, come on down. And then, I had a chair I wanted to donate. I get there, he's like, sorry, we're not taking furniture today. I'm like, what the heck? I just called. I'm like, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, it's, the process, when I learned about moving out of a condo, man, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, it's a process. So however long you think it's going to take, it's going to take far longer. So you think it's going to take 1 week, it's going to take like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. It's going to take much longer than you think it's going to take. Every time you think you're close to, almost there, you'll open the drawer and just like, oh snap, there's a bunch of other stuff in there. It's like, where'd that come from? It's like, it makes me realize how poor my organization was, because I would open up a drawer and I'd be like, dang, I didn't know I bought these. It's like, it's like, geez, if I knew I had this, I wouldn't have bought that. So yeah, the process takes a long time. Another thing that I did, because I didn't have much money, I told the buyer that I was going to continue to live in the place until the closing day. And the reason I did that was because I didn't want to have to find a hotel and pay for a hotel. I figured, well, my place is just sitting there unoccupied, so I figured, what the heck? And plus, so I decided to stay there, and it just sucked because I had staged furniture, so I wasn't even supposed to use the furniture. And one day I was drinking some coffee and I spilled the whole cup, and it got all over the coffee table, and it got on the carpet. I was like, oh shit, because the buyer had already put in their bid and I already accepted it. So basically I was ruining the sale by messing up the carpet. And if I could do it over again, I don't know. If you can afford it, don't live in your place, because that just sucks. Not being able to use the furniture and knowing that you can't mess anything up. You can't really cook because you don't want to make a mess. My agent hired these 3 cleaning ladies. They did a great job, by the way, and they cleaned everything spick and span. So you don't want to cook because you don't want to make a mess on the cooktop. You don't want to get oil all over the place, and you're gonna have to clean that stuff up, and it just sucks, So if you can, don't live in the place, because I kind of regret that. I wish I didn't have to live in that place while it was, while we were waiting for it to go to close. My agent insisted on staging with furniture. It did look better with the staging, I admit. I'm glad I went through the process of having a stage furniture, but if I could do it over again, I don't think it made that much of a difference. The way my agent went through it, I think we were able to get top dollar, and she did a good job. But it cost me $1,000 to the stage furniture, and eventually I wound up getting that money back through the form of a rebate, refund, $1,000. But still, I mean, if I could have an agent that didn't do that, just left it empty, I think I'd rather just do it that way rather than staging it. Although this, I mean, if I had the money and if my agent insisted, I'd just go ahead and do it again. But man, it's like I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. I think I still would have gotten, top dollar either way, staging or no. So yeah, if you can find an agent that doesn't insist on staging, or is a little more flexible, that'd be better. Because my agent, she was kind of mean about that. She's like, she's like, well, I really, really want you to stage it. So like, okay, whatever you want. So yeah, I mean that, and WFG was the company that did the closing docs, and yeah, one of the agents there, man, she freaked out. I sent an email about some money I had in escrow, and she in the email she's like, what are you talking about? Because there was $995. See, my mortgage company is PHH Mortgage, and they're the one that services my loan when I bought the condo. So they hold my loan, and so in the background, they're making payments for property taxes in the background, and so they've got money held in escrow for me because they're using that escrow money to pay for the property taxes and miscellaneous fees and whatnot. So they had $995 in an escrow account they were holding for me to pay for property taxes and whatnot. And so the company WFG, who was handling the closing of the sale, I said, when am I going to get my check for my $995? And incidentally, it was listed in the closing docs. And one of the sales ladies was like, what are you talking about? What $995? What $995? I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm just like, after the dust settled and everything blew over, I realized that this agent was just really stupid because she had no idea what she was doing. And I don't know if she was a new employee or what, but she should have known that the seller, see, there's two parties here. There's a buyer and a seller. So the person who's buying my condo, she's going to have money in an escrow account because she puts money like in a deposit in an escrow, and then they use, and so that's her side. And then there's my side. I'm the seller, and I've got a loan, and I've got money in escrow. So how you could not know that there's, possibly a second escrow account is beyond me. I mean, if you're in the real estate business, I can understand why, if she knows about the escrow account for the buyer, but you should know, like, in the back of your mind, there's a possibility that the seller also has an escrow account with his lender. Now, how you not know that is beyond me. That's like, wow, are you really that stupid? But anyways, that was kind of, at the end of the transaction, they sent me an email and they asked me, to rate them, and I put that in the comments. I was like, I don't think your sales lady is professional. I think she could have done a much better, there should be nothing surprising about the closing document. She should know that document in and out. I mean, she should know everything about it. So none of my questions were out of the ordinary. None of my questions were like just weird questions. They were just, every single question that I had was straightforward. Just honest and straightforward. I wasn't trying to be tricky or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, that was just like, wow, that's kind of surprised me. So that's another thing that I learned. Another thing I learned, and this has nothing to do with the seller, but this has to do with the buyer. So I sold my condo for $224,500, and apparently the buyer, she didn't have much money. She secured a loan with Wells Fargo for $220,000, and we had an escalation clause. There was multiple bidders, and they wound up selling at $224,500. And so she was $4,500 short. So what she wound up doing was she took out another loan in addition to the Wells Fargo loan. It was something, I forget the name of it, but it was something similar to a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. And she took out that loan for $4,500, and that was just enough to cover the cost of the condo. It was interesting, you know, my agent, she kept asking WFG, who was handling the closing, can we close quicker? Can we close quicker? And they're like, no. They said the buyers, she's already stretched for cash, and they said that if they close quicker, it would cost her more money. And apparently, when you sell a condo, it's like a dance. Everything is very tightly orchestrated. So they have they sent a letter to my HOA, my home, HOA, the maintenance organization, and July 17th, they're asking if I had paid my dues, if there was any assessments, and so they take that letter and they figure out how much they're gonna they pay my monthly assessment, which is $261 a month. So they take that and they put that in their calculation, and then anything else, they of course they make a request to PHH Mortgage, and they ask them what is the payoff amount if we close on this date. So they'll put that down, and they've got all these different numbers going on, and so everything was based on closing on August 21st. So if any days were to change, that would have thrown everything off, and they would have to do all their calculations over again. So that was one thing that I learned. I didn't know that before, or maybe I just forgot. I don't know. But yeah, that was interesting. So when they set everything to close on a certain day, the 21st, apparently it's got to be on the 21st. It can't be sooner or later, because that just screws everything up, and that screws up their math, and then they got to go through and they have to make requests all over again, and it just takes more time, and it just costs more money, and it's just a pain in the ass. So it's far easier for all parties involved if you just stick with the game plan and just go with the flow. And if they tell you we're going to close on the 21st, it's like, okay, close on the 21st. That's it. It's much easier just to go with just go with what they say and just let them handle everything, rather than trying to change things up. But I can understand why my agent, she's fighting for me. She wants to close earlier, help me get my money quicker. And if the answer is no, fine. It doesn't hurt to ask. So that was good. My agent, I love her. She's awesome, nice person. Did a great job for me. Got me good money for my condo. And yeah, I'm happy. Very fortunate. I bought my condo for $105,000 in 2012. I bought it at the bottom of the market. I was extremely fortunate. I bought it July of 2012, and we just closed on August 21st, 2019. So all going by economic indicators right now, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm selling at the peak. Right now the economic indicators show that the economy is starting to slump, starting to falter a little bit. And I know home sales, they're slowing down. The prices are starting to come down a little bit. So yeah, it's possible that I'm selling at the peak, which is great. So I'm very lucky, very fortunate. I made a little bit of money, and luckily, here I'm starting my new life in Vegas, and I've got money for a down payment for a condo if I really want to. But right now I'm just going to try to find a job first, get settled down. I don't even know where I want to live right now. I haven't even checked out the city yet. So who knows where, maybe I have to figure out where I want to live first, and before I start looking for homes. So yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts about the closing process for my condo, and hopefully this can help some people who are in the same boat as me, who are looking to sell, and maybe this will give you some heads up as to what's to come. Okay, thank you so much for watching.